the argument or the conversation, not an argument, because Kingsley is quite passionate about it. And I'm sure a lot of people totally understand because you're a baker. And Femi, you're so adamant to the extent of insisting that these funds are available and people are actually accessing it, especially cassava processors.
No, I need to clarify something. I told you a committee was set up that have all the stakeholders. The president of most of this association, you see, for master bakers, because that's the part, I think the issue of processors was not, there's no doubt about it. 35 processors were selected to be, you see, prior to the selection of even the processors, there was an audit that was done to fish out every processor of high-quality cassava flour in Nigeria in 2011-2012. And they were able to come out with about 158 in Nigeria. That compendium of documents is what is now being used and to follow up. Now, to the master baker, there are about 450,000 master bakers in Nigeria. Oh. The truth about it is, they have association, registered. There are lots that are not registered. And you see, the only way you can, when things are happening, I mentioned Nigeria is a massive place. Yeah. Association is the medium where which some of these things you can make the impact. Government started training people on the use of high-quality cassava flour. They've trained close to 1 million master bakers in the country now. In addition to what, Bill Gates Foundation also did, they did a lot of training. Out of those people, those that, accepted that initiative, they started buying it. In the East, it will surprise to know that in Enugu, in Owerri, there are quite a number of people that are asking for it. In Ekiti State, there's Wonder Loaf Bakery. In Okitipupa, there's a Ondo State Science and Tech Bakery. In Ilorin Fortunate Bakery. These are names that have started producing cassava flour, cassava bread. Those are the people, part of the thing that came up from that initiative was like, okay, start applying. This Bank of India, after signing the MOU in December, they were asked through the association to start applying for the fund. As I'm talking to you, March is the deadline, according to the MOU, for disbursement of the first tranche of the fund. And if you contact most of the master bakers in virtually all the states in the country, they are aware of the fund. They are aware of what is supposed to be done. But the truth about it is, only few portion of people
Mr. Femi, Mr. Salami, you are talking, leaving your area and talking about my own area. Now, what I am saying, the fund is there. Everybody knows. The processors, the master bakers, nobody is talking about that. My problem is, how do you access this fund? Let me tell you.
Have you attempted to access it?
That is what I'm telling you. I know how to do it. I know how to do it, and I have done it. Only me, he was mentioning some bakeries. Those are highbrow bakeries. If those ones go on strike, nobody cares. But the poor man that's producing agege bread, listen. This is my turn to talk. The poor man that's producing agege bread, does he know how to access this fund? And that's what I'm trying to tell you.
Yes.
The government has mapped out a way. You said association. I agreed. I'm not doubting that. That's the perfect way to go. I'm adding to it. I'm saying government should look at these people who are producing these things. Pick out some people. Call them consultants and everything. Go and meet these local bakers. Tell them how to access this fund. If you leave it to master bakers, the chairman, the managing director, or the secretary, or whoever that is there, they will hijack this thing. And it will be free. And it's not compulsory that everybody who is a baker is a member. But I can access this fund. It's open.
But okay, Kingsley, the same way, sorry, Mr. Salami, the same way you approached this issue, the same way you approached BOI to get this fund and the rest of it, why haven't other bakers like that?
Did they know?
You? That's just the thing.
That's what I'm saying.
How did you know?
Because a little bit, I'm exposed. I know. I read the paper. I know what's happening.
But then you always wait. Can I just? But you always have meetings. Those of you who are not the highbrow bakers, you always have little meetings among yourselves. Yeah. So why don't you share information like that among yourselves so that they can easily also understand that these funds are also available for them to get?
All right.
Let me just clarify this. Let me clear this. It seems as if we are not understanding something here. I have been able to access this, but how many people who are bakers are members of the Master Bakers Association?
So that's another problem.
That's a problem. But the issue here I'm saying is this. Just like any other grant, any other loan given by the donor agencies, I'm not saying they shouldn't go through association. They do. They should go through that. But what I'm saying is that let them have people who can meet these people, because if you leave it to master bakers, we will still have scarcity of it. We won't be doing it.
So
this thing should come out.
Let me just clarify who master bakers are.
So bakers, the master bakers or the other kind of bakers should stop complaining that there are no funds available for them.
Nobody can access it. Let me come up. The whole Ministry of Education said that there were around 80 billion something, or 18 billion naira grant that was unassessed. Minister of Education said it recently. Now, if you are telling me that this fund is there, and one other thing we need to understand is that BOI doesn't give you money. They will give you what you need to do it, not cash.
Okay, can I clarify something?
If you buy the equipment, people know how to do it, and they can access the fund. It's as good as nothing.
Kingsley, let me just clarify this. You see, when you mention master baker, they are the agege bakers. So it's not master as in high-end baker. They are not even like Kingsley. The master bakers are the people behind your house. Kingsley is even the high-end.
Well, he says it's not.
No.
Can you compare me
Kingsley
to
has rotary oven, master chillers. These are people that use hand to. Those are the master bakers. I need to clarify this. You see, it's not an issue of ding-dong between us. We are trying to prove something. And I'm talking from an informed perspective. You see, the freedom of association, you don't need to belong to any association. But for you to tap into some of this initiative, you need to belong to some of the association. That is number one. Number two is, on this Cassava Bread Fund, all the stakeholders were carried along. It's laudable. We are aware. All the master bakers in Nigeria are aware. They are the 450,000 people.
Can you just make his point?
There's no disputing that fact.
These 450,000 people have been asked to apply to Bank of Industries to access 2.2 billion that have been earmarked for their own sector. Out of these 2.2 billion, this is 450,000. It don't go come in tranches. So even after the first tranche, this fund is 9.9 billion that have been removed. There are still so much money in that fund that will be coming in phases.
Can I ask
so that's some of the things.
Salami something? You see, Mr. Salami, between me and you, this application you are talking about, if you apply to BOI, do they give them cash or do they give them equipment?
Good. Under this structure, it's even in the public domain. Part to upgrade equipment, part working capital. It's there. But the working capital is 100% loan. The grant, the upgrading of equipment is 50% grant, 50% loan. So that is
1%.
At 5%. 5%.
Just single digits.
It's 5%. And the whole import of it, I tell you, Bank of Industries have been doing a lot. In fact, incidentally, your station aired their program. They've been talking about it. So you need to...
I'm not saying the government are not mobilizing and telling people. That is not the issue. To be sincere, the fund is there. Everybody knows the association, Master Bakers Association, the processors. There's no disputing that fact. What I am saying, as a practical issue, something that I see every day, you ask the question, why is it not available?
Yes, why isn't it on the shelf?
And he is saying that, so he was mentioning some bakeries. I'm telling you that most of the people that are producing bread that you see on the street every day do not know how to access these funds.
Yeah,
and
they do not know.
They won't even access it because they won't know how to go by it. And that's what I'm saying, that to help the government, I'm not pouring or saying that what the government is doing is not right. Let them have some experts. Let them have some people. Among these 13 stakeholders that will work with BOA, let them be the ones. Let them work with the people who are producing this thing.
Kingsley, let me just...
To teach them, to nurture them to access this fund.
Let me just mention this.
The thing is this now. We already know that these are the issues on ground. Now, you're a baker. You're from the Cassava Processors Association. What will both of your associations now, because you also belong to an association, begin to do to ensure that other people, especially the bakers, who are not aware of how to access these funds, begin to know how to?
Okay, number one, from the processor's angle, you need to belong to the processor association. It is very important. You see, that is the only medium which you can begin to know what are your rights as, an entity, as a stakeholder in the industry. And you see, the truth about the whole activity, it has been generating a lot of... You asked one question some times ago, and that is why our HQ said, I'm not saying any of us that access any fund I have not accessed any fund. No association has accessed 1 kobo. But there are processes on. And I'm very positive from the pedigree of Bank of Industry that before the end of this month, they'll start disbursing that fund. From then, we start seeing the impact. It has to do with producing the product, sending it to the flour mills for us to begin to have the cassava bread outside. So you need to belong to an association that will be able to guide you, and your interests will be protected. It is very sacrosanct. And that is why master bakers, they meet virtually every week. They are organized. The 450,000 registered. They are aware of it. In fact, they have tons and tons of application in BOI now to access the 2.2 billion. But 2.2 billion is just a flash in the pan. That is where I agree with Kingsley. Look, at the end of the day, it's not going to reach everybody. But the truth about it is we will have started in the right direction. And you mentioned something about a bill. Those are some of the things that will now sustain this process. Because all we are just saying is, come on, 10% out of 100. Wheat is still 90%. So we are just still saying, look, backward integration, let our people also have an impact. Let our farmer be producing just 10% out of so much 2 billion of wheat flour you import every day. That's what we are just asking for, and then we can start growing from there. Once there's a bill that can back that up, you can rest assured that it's going to be sustainable.
Can I chip in now?
Yes, you can, and
You see,
just so that we can wrap up.
Yeah,
we'll just wrap up the
there's
program.
no argument, just as you said. What I am saying is what government is doing, that is the right channel.
Okay, so Kingsley,
Yeah.
just before you make that point, while you're also commenting, could you just tell us what you as a baker is going to do with your association to ensure that these issues that you've raised, particularly as regards getting the fund, will be addressed in very...
Yeah, just like what I'm saying, I've been trying to tell them, come, for you to write this proposal to us to get this fund, these are things you have to do. And I'm telling you, I have done it to more than 15 people. They say, we don't know, we thought it's only those in the higher authority that can assess this. And that's the notion. And that is what I'm kicking against. Government should get some people. I'm not saying they should get me, but if they get me involved in it, I wouldn't mind. I will tell them how these people will get and access this one so that the bread will be available for everybody to eat.
All right.
Simple.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, for sharing your thoughts with us this morning on the program. And Kingsley, I'll be looking out for the cassava bread.
Come and eat
I'm
it.
sure a lot
I
of
have it
people
in the
will as
bakery.
well. Thank you so much for coming on the program
Thank
this
you for
morning.
having
Well,
us.
we've been looking at the cassava bread initiative and some of the issues that have come up, particularly as regards funds and accessing of this funds. And I've been talking to 2 gentlemen, Femi Salami, he's a member, Cassava Processors Association, and Kingsley Igwe, he's a baker. Well, of course, this is not the last we've heard of this issue. I'm definitely sure that we're going to have this conversation again. But that's the program for today. Thank you for watching. I'm Harriet Agbemi.